I'm Kory Clarke. Yeah, I'm from Detroit. Warrior Soul is my spoken word art piece that I did. About 8 shows, and then I decided to put a band together around that name, and we did some damage. There's nothing here but flames and guts. On the end of the door, it shuts. Look to the center, you'll find people that are getting there. Lived all over New York City. Below 14th Street, of course. We had a pretty good time, I tell you, down there. After I got signed, I moved to Great Jones and 3rd Avenue of the Bowery. 2 blocks from CBGB's, to be quite honest. And CB's was pretty old and done by then, but Hilly was there and everybody was there still. Cheetah Chrome was running the door. Really, there were some great people down there. It was a great time. It was good. But, you know, as all good things do, they come to an end. Before I got signed, before I started taking things serious again after some career slides, working with Kim Fowley in Hollywood with a band called The Trial. Moved in with writer, filmmaker Ray Elias, and worked at Danceteria as a VJ up on the 3rd floor, and made a lot of contacts. It was pretty cool. Did a lot of MDMA for sure, and yeah, it was just a pretty wild time. The first album, you know, last decade, Dead Century is it's always hard to do your first record because you're doing your first record. We kind of demoed it to death. They made me demo the record 2 times before I actually did the record. So it kind of lost a lot of its feel. We should have probably released the album like on the 2nd after the first demo on the 1-inch, off the 1-inch 16, and that probably would have been enough. And we should have put it out on a independent label financed by Geffen. It would have been a little bit better. But, you know, things being as they were, you know, I had big management. We really wanted to hit hard, come in swinging. But they held Warrior Soul back a little bit too long. And I think we missed our moment. But, you know, it's been this pretty successful run of 30 years, so I can't really complain. It's been a pretty good ride. So, I mean, this is a really short synopsis of what was going on. I left off somewhere around last decade, that century, putting his stuff out. And we did some crazy touring with Danzig, Soundgarden. That was quite a tour, and there's a lot of stories to that tour. I'm sure many people have heard about it, whatever. But I guess the important thing about it is the album itself. Some pretty groundbreaking stuff, I think. Drugs Got in a New Republic. The song itself is a pretty massive track. And Pete McClanahan and John Rico and Mark Evans really brought themselves to that track. They really brought themselves. And it was a job producing it. We did the first version of it with Jeff Workman, who co-produced with me on the first album last decade. But it turned out Q Prime thought it was a bit dry mixed, thought my demos were better, so we had to move on. 35 grand down the drain. But we went and remixed Electric Lady, and we retracked all the guitars with the guitar amp we wanted. And yeah, I mean, it turned out really good. The record sounds pretty big. The problem with the snare drum is that, for me, is that we lost the snare drum track. Somehow, in the engineering process, the tight snare drum track wasn't there. And I wasn't using enough room at that point. So it sounds a bit, I don't know, it's a different kind of snare. It's not bad, it's just different. The album totally smokes top to bottom. There might be one track towards the end I might want to take off if I re-released again, I don't know. But pretty comprehensive, and tough record. Take your money back, nobody's superstar. The US is cracked on the stride. Coming into 1992, we started writing Salutations from the Ghetto Nation. And we worked on that for quite a while. John was coming up with some riffs, and we started putting them all together. And it was, a process. McClanahan and Evans the rhythm section really came on in that record. And it was a pleasure producing those guys. And they came up with some great riffs, and I added what I added, and we went in the studio and recorded a pretty good record, I think, and stands the test of time. I wish Geffen would have promoted it, but they wouldn't because I produced it. So. So after some angry moments, I don't want to talk about the business that much, but we went into Chill Pill. Chill Pill was supposed to be an album between two major releases, more of an independent sort of release. Probably would have been a better idea, but we had contract obligations, etc., and there was a lot of money involved, at least at that time. And So we did Chill Pill. We did it all on SM57 mics, a modified SM57 for my vocal, but everything, even the overheads, cymbals, kick drum, everything is on SM57. Going through Allen and Heath board. It's the first ADAT record. We took three synced ADATs in to Skyline Studios in Manhattan, and we dumped everything into under 24 tracks analog, and that's how we got that sound. The preamps on the ADATs are really good. And the preamps on the SSL are pretty good. So it sounded good. Whatever, boring bullshit. Anyway, we came up. It took about 12 hours to do the first track, Mars, and there's a lot of tape laying around that studio probably this day that we taped together, but it turned out really cool, and the record's really fresh. It sounds like it was done in one take. It's nice. It's a nice record. We need some guitar and wedges. Now I'm off of Geffen, and I've moved on to Music for Nations in Europe. And I decided that it was time to move on from heavy metal and try to do something more advanced, which I called acid punk. And I did an album called The Space Age Playboys. And well, everyone knows what that I guess that leads us up to Destroy the War Machine, which we jokingly called Made in China or whatever it's called, something like that. Anyway, we put it out, Destroy the War Machine, a fabulous record with a different lineup, and Jan Jarvis did a lot of the production with me, and Rilla Lundell did a great job on it as well. Freddie Cocker on drums. Oh no, it wasn't Freddie. Who was it on drums? No, it was the guy that hides in his basement. There's a guy that hides in his basement and plays drums. The record sounds badass, songs like Fuck the Pigs and, Burning Bridges. It's a pretty good fucking record. That sounds badass. I give up. Okay, couple solo records, So I did Opium Hotel, which was a year of my life. It just crazy, killing myself trying to get that record done. And I did that in New York City with a guy named Alex Edwards, AKA the Curmudgeon. And that took a full year of just crazy stuff. There's so many outtakes of that record, it's unbelievable. And I finally I just said, fuck it, we're not recording any more shit. We're going in and we're doing it. So I play a lot of drums on that, and it's very experimental. It's pretty cool, some really good stuff. Gary Hood wrote the title track, Opium Hotel, which is a beautiful track. Anyway, Opium Hotel 2, obviously same characters, etc. Then there's Payback's a Bitch, which I did in Portugal with Andre Indiana. And yeah, it was really cool. Some really great songs on there. Meet Me in Las Vegas. How High is Too High, which is a Gary Hood song again. Really, very well executed album, great sounding record. 5 stars in Rolling Stone. It's, it was cool. Stiff Middle Finger. I went to Spain to record that with a gentleman called Sujer, who also played bass with me for a while, in his studio, and near Barcelona. And it's got some pretty deep tracks. It was really hard to get people together to get it finished. So there is some rough edges to that record, but at the same time, I did everything I possibly could to get the record done and out in time. And it's got some gems on there, including Occupy, Planetary Revolution, amazing song. Junkie Stripper, and 2012. Real rock and roll. Oh, I've done a bunch of crappy records. And then there's, I was in a couple other weirdo bands, a band called Dirty Rig and a band called Trouble, and sang with those guys for a few years. Ran away from the United States, lived in Malta, went back to the United States, kind of, and then did a couple more records, which were, I ended up with some guys, sent me some songs, some riffs, guitar riffs. This guy named John Polachek, which is otherwise known as Full Throttle. Anyway, he sent me a couple riffs that I thought were really hooky. So I said, can you put together a couple more riffs? Just riffs in 3 sequence, a couple changes, etc. Let me see if I could do something with it. So I kind of put it together in a jammy way, and I said, go in the studio. And he went in the studio with Adam Arling from Las Vegas and Urge Overkill. So they went in a rehearsal studio and they just jammed out. Oh, and Adam Arling's brother, what's his name? Nate Arling. And good drummer, good, Las Vegas is a good band. So anyway, I get the tracks, and I started chopping into them and started singing over them. And Jan started singing on some of it, and things started to gel. We actually went to Chicago and did a show, but it wasn't really the thing. It took another year for the songs to really develop. You like drinking? And then we started putting the songs together for real. And Adam Arling couldn't believe what came back. You know what I mean? They did some riffs, they didn't think nothing of it. But we chopped it up, overdubbed it, made it, killer. But it was all, there was no click track. There was no anything like that. It was just edits and, like old school kind of shit. And anyway, the result was Back on the Lash, which was the most successful record I've had in a long time. So going on tour with Back on the Lash was, it was great, and I was able to play all the other stuff that nobody's heard before. A lot of stuff people haven't heard. But we finished that up, and then we moved on to decided, and this is like last year, and then we said, let's do another one. And I said, well, I'm coming into Chicago anyway. I go, why not? I don't know why I was in Chicago. I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, I go, let's do a session. So we went, we set up the kit and put the mics on it. And, you know, kind of that stuff. Adam Arling came in. We're just in a rehearsal space. And Adam came in and kind of said he was going to engineer it. So he's kind of put everything on record. And we went through 10 riffs after we went, well, first we went to the Mexican restaurant, of course, had some margaritas, and we came back, and we just tracked out, you know, ideas for 10 tracks. Fast crash, it's our gas. 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 And those guys, they sent them over to me after they hooked it all up, you know, just kind of got it tight. Adam tightened it up a bit. Sent it over. I did just a couple creative edits, started singing vocals on it, and that's pretty much the record. I mean, it's a really live sounding, straight ahead, you know, and then that was most of the record. And then we were touring in Spain, and Ivan, our Spanish drummer, and Christian Kimmett, our Scottish bass player, got together, and Adam Arling was there too. And and so was El Guapo, who is not here at the moment, Dennis Post. And we tracked one of his songs, Off My Face. Anyway, I tried to write lyrics and make them make sense, and sang it and mixed it. We sent it over to Miguel Martins, who mixed the other record, Back on the Lash, and overdubbed on it. And then that was it. It was done. So now it's up the dose. Well, the album we're touring right now is Rock and Roll Disease, and it's gone to #2 in the college metal charts in the United States as of this week, and we're still pushing that. It's actually just been released. It's only really been out 3 months, so we're just beginning to see what it's going to do. Well, the future right now, we hired some marketing people in the U.S. because we think that Up the Dose is worthy of that. And I wish we would have done it for Back on the Lash. But we went to #2 on the college metal hard rock charts last week. So the record's still got legs. It's moving. We're having a great week this week. So that's all happening. So we're still working Up the Dose right now. I'm still working on the video, adding little bits and bobs, people taking drugs and stuff. You know, you got to make it look cool. And then, you know, I don't have any hot chicks in it yet, but we're working on it. And then, I don't know. We got. I'm gonna go in November back to Chicago, and maybe we'll do another session, see how that goes, and then if that goes well, then we'll have another record out for maybe early next year, mid next year. Rock, we're going to be releasing around Christmas time vinyl of Space Age Playboys, the band from LA, which I didn't mention in this interview for whatever reason. I've got a rock and roll disease, but yeah, we're going to release that on colored vinyl, and those are great records, historic records, a story amongst itself, you know. Anyway. Rock, rock, roll. I got a rock and disease. Rock, rock and roll. I got a rock and disease. Rock, rock and roll. Got it from the toilet seat. Rock, rock and roll. Yeah, rock, baby. Rock.